Good afternoon. I'd like to call the Middletown School Committee meeting to order on Thursday, April 20th, 2023 at 4:34 p.m. All members are present. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice. Please remain standing for a moment of silence. Peter Toronto was recently passed away. He was the father of Dennis Toronto, one of our town council members. But Peter was an integral part of a Middletown public school system. He worked 24 years at Middletown High School and as an English teacher and a dean of student. He also coached basketball for many years, and he was inducted into the Middletown Athletic Hall of Fame. I'd like to send our condolences and our prayers to Peter's family and during this difficult time. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, next is the public forum. Individuals may address the school committee on only one relevant education-related topic not included on the agenda, nor related to personnel or job performance, nor revealing personally identifiable information regarding students. Individuals may speak for no longer than 5 minutes and must submit a public participation form to the superintendent prior to the start of the meeting. Non-agenda items discussed under public forum will not be voted upon at this meeting. Are there any? I don't have any forms. Okay. Does anybody want to submit a form for public forum? Okay, moving on next to our exciting part of all of our meetings is proclamations and awards. Yeah. So first, we're going to begin with month of the young child, month of the military child. I'm sorry. You want to say something first? You want me to just read? You can read. Okay. So we would like to welcome Captain MacGyver and Bruce Cates. Did I say that correctly? I'm sorry, of the Naval Station in Newport. Proclamation from the Middletown Town Council declaring April 20th, 2023, the military month of the military child. We have that from the resolution from our town council, who they recently did that the other day. We also have a House resolution from the State of Rhode Island General Assembly proclaiming April of 2023 to be month of the military child. Across our nation and here in the state of Rhode Island, children in military families sacrifice much in order to allow their parents to serve our nation and protect our liberty. In this month of April, people are encouraged to show support for our military and our veteran children and to thank them for their strength and the sacrifices they have made and continue to make. And there are approximately 2 million military children in the United States, with 1.3 million being school-aged. The average military student faces transition challenges more than twice during high school, and most military children attend 6 to 9 different school systems from kindergarten through grade 12. Taking care of our military children sustains our nation's fighting force and strengthens the health and safety of our nation's families and 10 communities. And the Middletown School District serves approximately 600 military-connected students, amounting to 29% of the student population. April 19th is also Purple Up for Military Kids Day. The month of April is a time to recognize the service and sacrifices of our military members and their families, and especially their children. They deserve our support. So we welcome Captain MacGyver and Bruce Cates, and we want to have you come up and present this to you. We thank you and all of the military service men and women who support our country and protect us and take care of us every day. And it's an honor to have so many military families and students in our school district. So thank you very much for coming, and we appreciate everything that you do. I'd love for you to come up and say something if you want to.
I guess stay right here. Keep my military voice right. So on behalf of the Newport, thank you for having me here today to represent the Navy. We want to show a little bit of thanks for everything that I do. I want to thanks for everything the military does, especially in support of our children. I'm a dad. I have 2 kids that have been Navy brats their entire lives. One is in college. One is actually in high school here in this area. Actually, we're in Newport. But having what you mentioned about several moves and the challenges that come with that, and the resilience that the kids need to have in order to be able to persevere. I will say that my kids have been able to do that as well, not only because of the great parenting from their mother, but also from the support from the school systems that we've been at, just like the support we provide on military families. And so I say thank you on behalf of the military families.
Thank you, Captain.
We look forward to the continued support and continued partnership working with the neighborhoods and the towns that support the installation.
Thank you very
Captain.
much. From the state of Rhode Island.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. An honor.
Just on a personal note, I'd like to say that Captain MacGyver has been very active in the educational community on Aquidneck Island. He's part of our Rhode Island Interstate Compact State Council, and he and his wife always attend those meetings and are 100%, pushing us and asking us questions and sharing how they can support the work we do in our schools on the island and in Middletown, and how we can support the families. So thank you so much for your support.
Thank you. Next, we're going to move on to Student of the Week. Other proclamations and other awards.
So we have a number of Student of the Week recognitions, and we're glad that so many are here. And we also recognize that some of our students that we are recognizing are either playing lacrosse or softball or baseball or whatever and could not make it. But we're going to recognize everyone that's here and that isn't here. Part of what our school committee gives in recognition are books for our students. The school committee really feels that that's an appropriate gift, as we're an educational institution. So I'm going to ask the principals to come up and introduce their students of the week. So I'll start with Erica. Do you have some?
Yep.
So this is Daniel Cooney. He's a third grader at Aquidneck School. And he was nominated by Mrs. Rosa because she said he's an outstanding young man. He's always respectful and helps others with a smile on his face. And she's so happy that he's a student in our school. He'd like to thank Mr. Sullivan. Don't we all love Mr. Sullivan? And I love this because he says he's so full of energy, and he is. From the moment we get off, he gets kids off the bus to the moment he puts them back on. But I think what kind of stuck out for me is Daniel has a younger brother at our school, Liam, and he really looks up to him. He said the person he looks up to the most is his younger brother. He wants to protect him, and he would do anything for him. And I think that is a great quality to have as a young man. And his quote is we should stop bullying and we should let everyone join us. And I love this part. His favorite dream job is to work with his brother because he really loves him. And we're going to start a company called Summer Slushies, which I would definitely have a summer slushie. So this is Daniel Cooney.
Come on up, Daniel. Congratulations.
Congratulations, Danny. Keep up the good work.
Well done. Good job.
Next is Lucas. Lucas, you want to come up? So this is Lucas. He's a second grader in Mrs. Bolton's class. His quote from his staff member, he's truly a role model and is consistently respectful, responsible, and safe at our school, which are our 3 big rules. He has a kind demeanor and he truly cares about others, Mrs. Bolton says, which is so true. And Lucas speaks English and Portuguese, so he helps out our students that don't speak English and always helps out Mrs. Bulk. I love this, and I didn't know this, but a staff member he liked to thank Mrs. Bolton and myself because we protect the school and we make the world a better place to live in, which just made my heart fill up when I do that. He likes to read Elephant and Piggy books, which is a big book at our school. And his best hangout, which I hope I see you this summer, is Second Beach because he likes to swim and he likes the sand. And he would like to he looks up to his mom and dad because they take care of him. And my favorite thing is he's always willing to lend a helping hand. And he has words of encouragement to his friends, and he always tries his best, and he puts excellent effort and attention to anything he works on as a second grader. So great job, kiddo. So proud of you.
John Lucas, congratulations. Thanks. You're welcome. One of my favorite books.
Next, our middle school principal is going to not only introduce his student of the week, but Forest Avenues as well.
Thank you.
Billy Niemeyer.
So obviously I'm not Mrs. Burkett, but I am here to present for her, and we have kind of a special, we're going to start off with a special student of the week. This is students of the week. We have for the first time twins. We have Raquel and Veronica Kaiser. You want to come down? Ready? Okay. Mrs. Burkett writes that Raquel and Veronica are first grade students at Forest. They're the first set of twins to receive the Student of the Month together. Raquel is in Mrs. Guerin's class and Veronica is in Mrs. Dorley Foreman's class. The girls are both so kind and compassionate and have infinite love of learning. Raquel says that she can do anything if she is kind and dreams of being a math teacher. If she is kind and dreams of being a math teacher. Veronica says, always try hard and would like to be a doctor when she grows up to help our community. Both Veronica and Raquel are such bright lights in our school community at Forest Ave. Congratulations, girls.
Congratulations, girls. This is for both of you. You can share. You can share. Take care.
Is Lily Norling here? No? Okay. I'll move on to the middle school. We have a number of recipients today from the middle school, but they're all at baseball and other things. But we do have Corbin Pope, and Corbin is one of my favorites. So come on down, Corbin. Welcome, bud. Okay, Corbin is a sixth grader at Gaudet Middle School. He is known for his positive attitude and his hard work in his classes. His dream job, something in manufacturing, because you can make a lot of money. I like that. Favorite meal is pizza. Interestingly enough, he didn't add this. Every day he eats pizza with salad on top. The fun fact that I don't know that everybody knows. Doesn't eat snacks. Favorite show or movie is Freebirds. He's a family man, though. He loves to hang out at home because he can talk with his family. He'd like to thank Mr. Goudreau, who's here, to support him. He recommended him for this. And Mr. Goudreau writes that Corbin always sets an example for other students in his class, and he's a pleasure to have at all the time. And I can vouch for that. So congratulations.
Good work.
Nice job.
Thank you.
Yeah. We have Rebecca, do you have? Okay. Dr. Heath? Dr. Heath? Okay, all right. How about our swim team? They were recognized. Do we have any swim team members? Okay, Dr. Heath, can you? Our swim team was recognized for the Sportsmanship Award, the Brother Anthony of Jesus FSC Memorial Sportsmanship Award. And you want to introduce our student athletes? or they can introduce themselves.
Thank you so much. I had it on my laptop. So just to identify our boys and girls swim team have really had quite the 2 years. Coach Duggan was named the Rhode Island Swim Coach of the Year this past year, on top of a season that's one of the winningest that we've ever had in Middletown. And then arguably we topped that this year because for me, my favorite award is the Sportsmanship Award. And we were able to take that home this year as well. So if I could just announce the members of the swim team coming forward. Summer Ashness, Carolyn Bass, Jameson Brennan, Sydney Bogosian, Lily Claire, Hayden DiMedeiros, Lila DiMatteo, Quinn Gibson, McKay Gleason, Evan Harris, Mohammed Hassan, Owen Hawkins, Isabel Huntoon, Alessia Johnson, Jacob Keith, Charlotte King, Madeline King, Charlize Logan, Elizabeth McNutt, Devin Maloney, Kylie Schwartz, Ane Sithasane, Griffin Soderberg, Bruno Solomane, Owen Standish, Simon Standish, Shane Sweeney, Christopher Sinnott, and Chloe Tizer. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
You all can come forward. They have a what? That work item.
Okay, congratulations, you guys. What we're gonna do is we're just gonna give the whole box to you, Jeff, and then you can,
Yeah, we can. give
their
it-
names are inside of it.
Congratulations. Nice job. Keep up the good work.
Congratulations, great job.
Nice
Yeah,
job.
Sure, definitely. Yeah.
Congratulations, good job.
Nice job. Yeah, good job.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
Before you all head back.
My kids. just
stand
swim
for a
team, too.
picture. Okay?
Congratulations.
This way, yeah, we can stand even. I don't know what we want for the backdrop here.
Can we get that?
What would you like for the backdrop of the picture?
Oh,
Thanks.
we'll move.
Yeah, I guess, yeah, why don't we stand side by side right here? We'll slide this. There you go. Great. Yeah, Shakira, if you want to come, why don't you slide this over? Yeah, so we can see it all. Okay.
Are you gonna get in it?
Great, excellent.
Hold the box.
1 minute.
Kiki, smile anyways, just in case.
I know,
it's not
smiling.
human.
Congratulations, everybody. Yep. So I don't want to push my luck, so I'm going to stay over here with the podium here.
Next is our Division III Hockey State Champions. So it was an unbelievable match between Middletown and Portsmouth. Middletown came out victorious. I was not able to make the game, but I did make the bus when the bus arrived back at school, and there was so much enthusiasm, and parents were there and teachers, and it was a proud moment for Middletown. So Jeff, if you want to read those names, I know they're in lacrosse.
Yeah, for sure. So some of these students may not be here because of lacrosse, and just to build on what Ms. Krager is saying, you know, I've been a lot around sports my entire educational career and then played growing up. That could have been, without, lie, one of the most exciting games in any sport that I've ever seen. So congratulations to the Rogers Middletown Tiverton Co-op in overcoming Portsmouth in that game. Congratulations specifically to Coach Johnny Sheo, Evan Agron, Patrick Bennett, Christian Berluti, Max Braun, Liam Fitzgerald, Waylon Flaherty, Fisher George, Noah Lees, Jonathan Lopes, Matthew O'Hagan, Keaton O'Shea, Braden Swainkamp, and William Warren. If there's anybody here that would come up and get the book. Lots of multi-sport athletes. So thank you, everyone. Thank you.
So they're all playing lacrosse
Yeah.
or baseball.
I just want to say this is always the best part of our meetings, is being able to recognize the success of our student athletes and our student academic achievers. It's a very exciting part, and it just shows how Middletown is strong, not just in some areas, but we are making our children as well-rounded young adults. So congratulations to everybody and the coaches. Thank you. I'm going to take a brief recess for just a minute to allow people to leave. Thank you.
I wore this in case you didn't turn the heat on today.
Okay, we'll resume back to our meeting. Next on the agenda is information.
Just in your packet is a resignation from one of our building committee members. I put that in for your information. And the other piece is a letter in support of a grant that our police department is looking into, has applied for 15 portable radios for under the school violence prevention program. So they have applied for it and we have supported it, and it would be great if we can get those walkie-talkies. They're 15 portable radios, approximately $38,000. So we're happy for that. That's all in the information.
Okay, next is the consent agenda. Can I get a motion on the consent agenda?
Make a motion that the school committee approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Okay, we do have somebody who came in a little bit late that would like to speak. Katrina, hi. Would you?
Hello.
Hi, if you, that's okay. If you could just come up and state your name and address, please.
Hi, my name is Katrina Cat High. My address is 28 Cows Path, Middletown, Rhode Island, 02842. I'm actually a member, I'm a student at Middletown High School. I'm the president of our women's vocal ensemble. And so, as you can tell, ensemble and music is very dear to me if I were to be given the title of president. And so that is why I'm here today. If you saw on the form, it says that I'm here to talk about the school budget for 2023 to 2024. Originally, this was going to be an issue solely. I was going to talk about the music department itself, but after a while, I got more information, and I believe that this is an issue I should address as a whole. Music, of course, is something I'm very passionate about, something that runs deep within my person, but something that also does is my history with mental health, my friend's history with mental health, and so seeing the positions that will be cut, which include 2 reading elementary teachers, 2 deans, 1 guidance counselor, 1 librarian, 1 student success teacher, 1 social worker, 1 ELL teacher, 2 custodians, 1 faculties member, 1 art teacher, and of course our music teacher, our chorus teacher. I felt that this was something I had to talk about. Many of our students, around 32% as a whole, I did attend that meeting, are not up to standard for our literacy and for our math standards. These positions that we are cutting will not help lower that number. And it is something that we absolutely need. It's something that we requested as well. And so I originally emailed, I never had a response. If I may ask, if it pleases the council, may I know your thought process behind why we are cutting these positions?
I'll let you answer about the budget. So what happens is we are required by law to submit enough cuts to balance a budget, because that budget has to then be, but the state requires this. It doesn't mean that some of those positions will not come back, but we are required to have a balanced budget when we submit it to the town council for approval. We then request a certain percentage of last year's budget to be able to fulfill what we need for this year, for the district's needs. We are requesting 4%. We have submitted our budget to the town. We are requesting 4%. But if we don't get that 4%, some of those positions will not be able to be sustained. So realize that that's how the process works. Once we know what we're going to be receiving from tax appropriations, we then would be able to bring some of those positions back. I don't know about all of them at this particular time. When we did our budget, Our budget really was much higher that we would like to propose, but it's against state law to go above 4% request to the town. The only way we can go above 4% is if the town went to the state requesting a waiver, or I don't know if that's what it's called, but I forgot what it's called. I apologize. That they would be able to have to increase the tax appropriations to the schools. So there's a very fine line. None of us want to cut any of these positions. We know the needs of the students. We know that it will make a difference by sustaining these positions for the students' academic well-being and social emotional well-being. We do understand that, but we are required to submit a balanced budget, and then we go from there of what is received once we receive the budget, which doesn't happen until June. We don't know what we're going to receive until June 20 something, I believe, is the final budget hearing.
So to clarify, the 2023-2024 budget is not set in stone just yet.
Correct. The town council has to approve it.
Alrighty, because I have, I don't know if you guys have known this, but I also have gone to a town council meeting with the same issue. I brought that forward to them. They said there's nothing much they can do about how you guys will handle your money.
Correct.
So that is why I'm here. If you would, if it would please the council, I could always go back to the next town council meeting and talk to them. Of course, that is totally up to you guys. Of course, I have emailed the school committee. I believe I emailed the right email. I don't know. But absolutely, it's something I suggest, like, if we were to have the appropriate money, I do ask that, like, we don't cut, like, our important positions, like the guidance counselor, like the deans, because those are very important to how these students learn, and how we maintain order at our schools.
Absolutely. And we 100% agree with that. I do want to say that the town council did give us money for this year, this current year that we're in, and to support more of the music program. And we did utilize those funds, but those funds are one-time funds. So we're in hopes that those funds would be able to be reinstated next year, but we can't guarantee that until we hear back from the town council. So they did give us $200,000 to support some of athletic areas and our music programs. So we utilized those dollars. We brought teachers back in to support the music program to finish the school year. And I'm focusing on that part of it because I know that's why you're here. We are in hopes that that's going to happen again. But again, there's that fine line of we're waiting to see what the town council is going to approve for our overall budget for the 23-24 school year, which is July 1 to June 30. That's how it works.
Thank
So,
you.
Is that, did I cover it? Yep. All right.
Thank you so
Th-
much for
Thank you
being
for coming
vocal.
in.
Student
Yeah,
voice is very important to us.
I'd like to make a comment. I kind of absolutely agree with our chairman here. The individual with the most gray hair on the school committee. And not only do we want to bring back fully the music and the arts, we have a lot of other little things we'd like to do too. But I'm congratulations on coming forward, at least talking to us.
Thank you.
We love that. I love that.
I'd also, when did you send that email? Cause I never received it.
I never received it either.
You guys never received an email?
Mm-mm.
You got it?
I didn't get it.
I didn't get it. So it's our first initial and our last name at mpsri.net.
Yeah, because
How long ago did you send it?
I believe I sent it actually around middle of March.
Okay.
I'll
Did
go back and-
didn't Councilman Toronto respond to you?
Councilman Toronto responded to me. I spoke
And I got the
last year
response.
about the music department, which brought on the 200,000.
Mhm.
So I know that I got the town council email right. I might have not gotten the school committee email right. I'm so sorry about that.
Yeah, we need a group
Which is
button.
another thing. We
Um,
need a group button, yes.
You know, the other thing that you could do, you asked about going back to the council, and that is something that you could choose to do if you want to. If you did make the decision to go back, you could just go back and request and say, you know, would you be willing to support the program again? And be able to allocate I should say is the better word, allocate specific funds to support the program. Again, it's the sustaining of the programs. It's long-term. When they give us money like they did the 200,000, it was for just that, this current school year that we're in right now. So that's the tricky part here, is that we need that 4% just to do our bottom line and make sure we maintain our programs that we have now. If any additional funds that they give us is a bonus, so to speak, and it allows us to expand and retain the other programs that we believe are 100% equal. So we don't want to, I am saying this, I'm sure I'm speaking for the rest of the committee. We don't believe that, math is necessarily any more important than music, because for some students to do well in math, the music is an incentive. It's no different than athletics is an incentive for students to do well in English. I mean, there's, that incentive and that motivation is really important when somebody has a passion about something. So please understand that we do absolutely agree that all of the programs at Middletown High School are important, whether it's academics, music, athletics, arts, or social emotional support. So thank you so much for coming. And we are advocating to the best of our ability to get dollars to support all of the programs necessary for the success of our students.
Thank you.
So thank you very much for coming in. You did a great job.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ken.
Keep coming.
Will
Yes.
do.
Okay. Next is old business. We're going to review the subcommittee assignments for the school committee. So I just want to review what we have come up with. I'm just going to read the title very quickly and review everything. Budget Subcommittee, myself, Greg, Tammy as an alternate. Career Tech Center Committee, Tammy. Policy Committee, Greg, Wendy. Sick Bank Committee certified is myself and Bill. Sick Bank Committee Council 94 is Bill and Tammy. Grievance Subcommittee is myself, Bill, and Greg. Facilities Advisory or Building Committee is Tammy and myself and Greg as alternates. Safety Advisory Committee is now going, that was the open position, is Wendy and Tammy. Clerk is myself. East Bay Educational Collaborative is Mrs. Krager. Newport County Regional Special Education Program is Mrs. Krager. Audit Committee is myself, Greg, and Wendy as an alternate. Health and Wellness Advisory Committee is Tammy. Open Space Committee is Bill. Stream Career Pathways Committee is Tammy, Bill, and myself as an alternate. Cozy Governing Council is Tammy. Negotiation Subcommittee Council 94 is myself and Greg. Negotiating Subcommittee Middletown Association of Paraprofessionals, NEARI, is myself and Greg. Negotiation Subcommittee NEAM is myself and Greg. And Middletown Prevention Coalition is Wendy. So Kiki, I'll give you this after. So any questions on that?
No,
Okay.
thank you for filling in those positions.
I know I went through it quickly, but I have it in writing. Okay, next is new business, our building committee update.
So I know we have some building committee members here, our co-chair, Charlie Roberts, and building committee member Mark Thayer. I don't see, but we also have our architects here, and they have been working very diligently, getting conceptual drawings, but not only that, but listening to our teachers, listening to our administrators, and working with our building committees. So tonight, Ed is going to show us a plan that the building committee has seen. They have not voted on anything yet, but there will be a recommendation to the school committee about the next piece of this. So thanks, Ed. Ed,
Hi.
Doug.
There we go. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
So we'll run through this, very similar that we did at the building committee the other night. Feel free to stop and ask questions if anything sort of jumps, but I'll try and get through it as succinctly as possible. So as part of our planning exercise, we have been trying to figure out the entire district. This is required for the stage 2. It's not only about the design and construction of the new middle high, which is currently the prime objective, but it's also planning what happens to the elementary students that aren't necessarily going to be included in this bond initiative. Step one of the plan currently includes, as I said, the new middle high, and that'll be for grades 6 through 12, and that's going to be on the existing Gaudet site. The plan currently includes constructing that building where the existing fields are, the old drive-in site. Once that facility is completed, the middle and the high students will move in. And then we have sort of the immediate need for step one, which is to take the Learning Academy out of Gaudet to allow the demolition of the old building and the completion of the remaining site work. District admin is also included in that, and they need to move out of this facility in order to better consolidate school operations. So this task for the master plan is really to identify the best place for that relocation to occur. As I said, the stage 2 submission must include a plan to address the needs. And previously, the last referendum included not only the middle high, but also a consolidated pre-K 5. And that would have facilitated the closure of both Aquidneck and Forest. That is no longer the plan. But I just wanted to point out that over 72% of the residents in Middletown voted in favor of that. Now we need to address that sort of immediate need. This view of the aerials sort of depicts what you have currently in the facilities at Forest, Aquidneck, Middletown High, Gaudet, and Oliphant. A lot of facilities. Sort of going backwards a little bit, in the stage 1 submission, we did do a comprehensive existing conditions analysis of all of the buildings in the district. And this identified a lot of items that needed attention. It addressed the short-term and the long-term strategies for the district. I'll start with Aquidneck very quickly. This school was built originally in 1954 with a large addition in 1955, very shortly thereafter, and another sizable addition in 1994. The building is generally in poor condition and really can't be easily modified or improved. The most important piece is that the layout does not support 21st century learning. As I said, it was built in 1954. Interestingly enough, when those additions were done, the gym and the cafeteria spaces were never really addressed to take the enlarged student enrollment at that building. So consequently, they're very small right now. It has a tight site, which makes expansion into a new construction very difficult, due not only to steep topography that's there, but also the proximity to the residential neighborhood. Some of the necessary work you can see down below: masonry repointing, gym roof replacement, ADA and code upgrades, most sorely needed cafeteria improvements, MEP infrastructure replacement, and then floor abatement replacement. Very quickly here, this wing right here was the original 1954 building. And then this wing, only the first floor was built in 55, and then in 94, there was an addition built on the second floor. So it's seen a lot of modifications over the years, which makes adapting it a little bit tricky, almost impossible. We did the same review at Forest as well. This building was originally built in 1957 with a large addition in 1994. This building has seen a lot more improvement over the years, and as such, it's generally in fair condition and actually can be improved for continued use. We did look at the size, the layout, and the scale of the building, and it actually is very appropriate for pre-K, K, and 1. The gym and the cafeteria spaces here are also very small, but they are suitable for the lower elementary grades. The tight site here makes expansion and a new construction difficult as well. The necessary work we pointed out in our stage 1 report: window replacement, chimney repointing, stucco repair on a 1994 wing, ADA and code upgrades, cafeteria improvements, MEP infrastructure replacement, and then floor abatement replacement as well. The back wing here was what was added in 1994, and then previously the town had done the improvements to create that learning commons down in the wing, which is actually a very good asset to the building. Challenging thing here is, as I said, there's not a lot of space to expand. The site was actually improved a couple of years ago as well, up in the front for parking and bus drop off, parent drop off. Although it's still challenging. I've been there during pickup and drop off. We also looked at the high school. High school was built originally in 1960 as a junior senior high, and it had a very small science addition in 1994. The building is generally in fair to poor condition. The layout and scale are really not appropriate for high school use. And some of the necessary work that we pointed out here, chimney repointing, curtain wall replacement, roof replacement on the balance of the roofs that weren't touched in the last bond work, column enclosures at the gym and cafeteria, painting the exposed steel on the perimeter of the building at the eaves and canopies, renovating the toilet rooms, ADA and code upgrades, MEP infrastructure replacement, utility tunnel abatement, floor abatement and replacement, and asphalt pavement, concrete sidewalks, retaining walls outside. Generally, the layout of the building as it exists today. Interestingly enough, the building is built into the hill to take advantage of the topography here. And I did want to point out that it's really, both floors are at grade, the way the building was designed. The connections between on the wings are really what ties the floors together, which makes high school education a little challenging. But it does have those two great courtyards as assets. Most of the academic spaces are up on that upper plateau. So now in terms of trying to look at this pragmatically, this first initial step, as I mentioned, we need to get the Gaudet Learning Academy and district admin out. And one of the things that we think is a possibility is looking at the high school. There's approximately 132,000 square feet there that can accommodate this temporary relocation. Despite all of the things that I rattled off before in terms of the work that needs to be done, the building and the site have value. Although it's not optimized for 21st century high school learning, it is well suited for elementary school. As I mentioned, it has the on-grade access at the plateaus. There's an ample site. The one-story scale is actually very appropriate for elementary school. And those internal courtyards that I mentioned earlier are actually a wonderful opportunity for outdoor learning in a safe, secure environment. The gym and the cafeteria spaces are actually larger than currently allowed by RIDE for new elementary school construction. The other positive piece to this is that gym can continue to be used by the community, as we heard the other day in our planning sessions with the high school and the needs of all of the teams and other athletic leagues in town. The improvements can actually be done in a fully unoccupied building prior to move-in with no disruption to education. And that was actually the biggest stumbling block, turning back the clock when we were looking at this as just a renovated high school. The state really had a problem with that because it couldn't be done very easily. And moving district admin out of here allows redevelopment of this site by the town. This is sort of a snapshot of what would be in this first step with the current program. The construction of the new middle high at the Gaudet site, the demolition of the building after relocating district and 4-5, and Oliphant being closed.
Excuse me, Ed, where would you be putting the admin?
Show you in a minute. At the high school.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. So in this conceptual plan, we looked at how to accommodate this in the existing facility. The red is the district administration. There's an opportunity to have a separate entrance from the exterior to accommodate that. The gym and the cafeteria basically remain the way they are now. You still have the ability to have an administrative presence where the high school administration is now, and a public entrance sort of all down on that main level. Oh, before I leave this, there's also the ability in the dark gray to take district facilities out of Little Oliphant and move them over here as well. The upper level, the Learning Academy could occupy the wing to the right. And really just based on its proximity to the parking lot, which I'll show you in a minute, which helps to keep all of the academic areas here on the upper level for the academy. It leaves the other portion of the building available for future use, whether it's future renovation, other needs that the town may have. The idea here is that we're not looking at this just based on step one. Since there is no immediate plan for the elementaries long term, we looked at the high school as an opportunity to sort of incrementally address the elementary issue. You could potentially use that building as an intermediate elementary school for grades 2 through 5, and then create an early childhood center at Forest Avenue for pre-K to 1. As I mentioned, the high school and that site have value. The building can be reinvented with thoughtful design and renovation. And here we just showed some pictures of some other projects that we've done before and after. What can be done renovating a building? These were both done in very old buildings that are now continuing to serve not only the students that are there, but adapt it for more modern education. So trying to create learning commons in these buildings and other amenities sort of on the new model, you can reinvent this and still use it. The other benefit of this building is it has wide corridors. Right now, it's kind of hard to imagine with the lockers all over the place. But if you took those lockers out, you could adapt those corridors more in terms of what you see in some new schools, and using those spaces for small pullout and other, supportive roles. It's not just a corridor anymore. Good furniture can help with that. The improvements are budget dependent, however, obviously, and the benefit to this plan is that they can be done incrementally in unoccupied areas prior to any students moving in. The other benefit is this approach is significantly less expensive than pursuing another large bond for constructing a brand new elementary school and demolishing the high school. We kind of looked at these plans that I'm going to show you sort of far in the future based on the NESDEC projections, based on their latest report, their update. We are in the process of getting updated numbers from Proper, and hopefully we'll have them finalized in the next couple of weeks. This grade realignment would actually allow for the closure of Aquidneck as well. Here you can see it's sort of just a conceptual rendering of what one of those internal courtyards could become, with teaching spaces and other teaching opportunities to engage the kids in a safe environment. There's no outside influences here to worry about. You've got total control of this courtyard. The window system would be totally replaced, obviously, in this as well. And, this becomes an asset to the school as opposed to just this unused sort of landmass that's there now. This step 2 of the plan, as I mentioned, would result in 2 of the facilities being closed, elementary being split between Forest and Middletown High sites, and then Gaudet as we had finished in step 1 with the new middle high. Here in step 2, obviously more renovations, but you can see the first floor district admin wholly in the front of the building. The rationale behind that is you could actually renovate the existing locker room space in this and grab all of that frontage for district admin and open up that wing for educational use. Facilities tucked away on the backhand side of the building. Admin, very similar situation. And the upper level here, you can see you've got the 4-5 Academy now on the other side of the building to take advantage of the pre-engineering makerspace and the wood shop and grades 2 through 3 on the opposite end. And as I mentioned, those learning commons now become very important with establishing those communities within those wings and trying to get, you see the lockers gone, you've got more transparency in there. It's much more open. You've got that humongous media center now there, right where the kids are. And the ability to have student entries sort of up on that upper plateau. Makes a little bit more sense when you see it here in the site plan. Parent drop-off can remain in the front. That teacher parking lot up on the top now can become the bus drop-off zone. So we can keep those things separate. There's plenty of room to stack. You can keep that whole area and the whole area to the left of district admin staff only. And still have the parking available for community use when the gym is being utilized for leagues and whatnot after hours or on the weekends. There's also enough space in that teacher parking lot to the left for district facility vehicles to be completely isolated. The courtyards we kind of mentioned before, you could get 2 grade specific courtyards here, one for 2-3, one for 4-5. And then the same with dedicated playgrounds on the upper plateau, sort of in the more serene part of the site. Here's just sort of a bird's eye view of that, makes it a little bit easier to understand. And then Forest would become, as I mentioned, the pre-K, K and 1 early childhood. Looking forward again, so that's sort of step 2. Step 3 would be, is there an ability to consolidate all of the elementary education on a high school site similar to the way it was proposed in the last bond initiative? And we think that there's enough space here, particularly on that lower portion where the original football field was, to allow construction of a pre-K 1 school, particularly to address larger enrollments, universal pre-K if it ever comes up. This would simplify bus routing, scheduling, parent drop-off and pickup, having them all in one site. You know, if you've got young kids in the early childhood and kids in the upper elementary, they're all here. This would allow the closure of Forest, would simplify maintenance and upkeep of the facilities under care and custody of the district, because now you're dealing with just this site and the Gaudet site. And I think give the district something that can be built on over time. I think our concern was, since everything couldn't be done at once, how could you come in here 10 years from now and say you want another $200 million bond? I'm just using that as for discussion. How could that happen? Could it happen that fast? I don't know the answer to that, and I don't think anybody here does either. But trying to peck away at renovations over time, if you can get 5 million 3 years from now, and maybe, 5 years after that, get another infusion, there's a path forward to at least saying that you've got a facility that could continue to serve the town.
It's a lot.
I know it's a lot.
With all the renovations to the high school, I know, if you build from scratch, it has a certain number of years that it's expected to withstand. So with those renovations, would that be in the same timeline? Would it be, 20 years, 30, with those kind of renovations?
So we said this, I mentioned the building and the site have value.
Mm-hmm.
The cost of a new building, even if we were going to build that other one the way we showed
Mhm.
before on the lower plateau, That's all brand new site work. There's nothing there to support that right now. This building, the site work that you see is pretty much what exists today. So repaving a parking lot is just inherently more cost effective than creating one from scratch. The same thing goes with the structure of this building. The foundations, the way the land has already been modified, the structure that exists there now. The liability is in the systems that have a finite life, like the heating system or roofs. You know, they don't last for 100 years. They just don't. Replacing the curtain wall and actually coming in here with something that is more wall and less window actually helps from a cost standpoint and a durability standpoint, right? Because they all have to be impact rated since we're on the coast. So it helps with that. It also helps with giving more wall space in the classroom. If you've ever been in there, there's really like, you know, 2 walls for anything to be on. The outside wall is just completely unusable for tack surface, you know, marker boards, any other kinds of devices that need to be in the classroom. This helps to kind of give that a little bit more scale. Also helps with solar control, but there's nothing wrong with the structure to the point. And if you invested over time with this building could last 50 years plus. You know, it's the infrastructure, as I said, and we're looking into strategies now conceptually to see how we could deal with the heating system, which has been problematic for a long time, incrementally again. So that first piece in step 1, you could do something to address that now, and then not have to worry about the rest of it until you get the funds to deal with it. And it's an investment that you're not throwing good money after bad. You know, like you can do patchwork on, I'm going to use Aquidneck as an example. You can repair the masonry. That's only going to last so long. You need to replace the windows on that building as well. That's only going to last so long. But I come back to the educational deficiencies and the problems that they have with taking the little kids up and down those stairs to the cafeteria. You know, you can't overcome that. That's an inherent problem with the way that building is laid out.
I think the primary question, if I just could, is in each of these facilities, can it ever be that facility that you wish it to be? In the case of a high school as of upper elementary school, we think yes. In the case of trying to do that same thing with the Aquidneck, for example, we think no.
So when you're looking at something like this, have you put a price tag? I missed the building committee meeting last week. I was away, but
Not yet.
okay.
I can explain that part of the process.
Okay.
So
Because I
where-
know the windows, unfortunately, when we got the $10 million bond,
they were very expensive.
it was a big, but there was also an error in
Yes.
calculations for that particular situation.
So where we are in the planning now is we're trying to develop the program for the new middle high and get the demographics in terms of establishing the top end number for students. And RIDE requires us to go out 5 years because that's the length of the program, so to speak, right? You get your approval at the end of 23, they look 5 years out at 28, and those are the numbers they want to see. There's some issues with that relative to the population in Middletown that we're working out with the demographer now. Once we nail that down, that sort of sets the maximum size of the new building. And will also tell us how many kids to anticipate at the elementary level as well for that long-term look. We're going to put conceptual designs together for both the middle high and this master plan piece, the first step to get the Learning Academy and district admin in here and come up with a menu and say, okay, we know we need to build the middle high and it's going to have a cost of X. What's left in the bond for this phase that we can accomplish now beyond just moving them in? And what do we need to anticipate moving forward? So you look at every fiscal year or, you know, larger chunks along the way. It's a planning exercise at some point. So how much of the curtain wall could we replace in this first phase with this bond is part of the exercise. And I don't have an answer for you, Teresa. tonight.
And it gets a little even more complicated, because ultimately you want to be considering the costs relative to the alternatives, right? So in this case, it's renovation versus new construction. Yet, one of the hardest parts of that is to figure out how much and when
You could
those
fund.
funds would be expended, both in the renovation process, but when could you possibly, I had mentioned this earlier, anticipate another bond for an entirely new school?
Right.
And you have to apply cost escalation, which is unfortunately right now quite high, to that model. And so it makes that cost comparison even more extreme in a way.
We do think this is actually more cost effective, long-term approach.
Substantially.
How
I
much I
think it's
don't
a-
know.
I think it's a great plan. We had talked about this a while back. I really do think it's a great plan. That is a good building. I think the idea of taking the lockers out of the hallway is very impressive. And I like the way in the design there that you had the common rooms in the second and third grade wing and yes, right there, the learning commons, for grades 4 and 5 and 2 and 3. I
Interesting piece on this building is most people don't notice, but originally, back in 1960, there were skylights in the portion of the classrooms closest to the corridors that have all been covered over. The same in the media center. This whole zone, if you ever go in there, is very dark because the windows on the exterior are very high and narrow. There were skylights in there. So they had all the natural light that we're desperately trying to get now in this building in 1960, but through time and maintenance and whatnot, they leaked, they covered them over. There's the ability to reinstate a lot of that stuff here.
Well, I think the scope of the land, the grade of, of being able to have the walkout, which is critical. Yes, they do need to walk down to the cafeteria and the in the gym, but there's also that shorter set of stairs on the in there. Yes, that strip. I think conceptually, I think this is phenomenal. I think we just need to be able to take this information and move it forward and go from there. I know $20 million that we're talking about in the bond isn't going to go really far in this structure,
Well,
but
I'd like to just comment on that if I could.
absolutely.
I know that was mentioned earlier. I mentioned this at the building committee meeting the last time. That 20 million was just, throw a dart, we need a placeholder.
Right.
I have no idea what that number really is because, as I said, priority is the new middle high.
Mhm.
And we may find ourselves with 95% of the bond going to that and not very little left over to address not only step 1 of this plan, but whatever else is existing from a capital standpoint. That's something that we have to work out with the plan, not only for the submission to RIDE to get approval on stage 2, but also for the district to be able to plan
Mhm.
and know how they need to tackle this.
Yeah, and that transparency is going to be critical when you're talking to the town because we don't want anyone to come back later and say, wait a minute, you said 20 million was going to be this, this, and this.
That's
And-
why it's like, I wish somebody had never said the 20 million number, honestly.
I know.
It's like, we're working with the 190 and trying to maximize everything that we can get out of that 190 to address
Everything.
the new building, this step 1, and some of the other things that exist at Forest and Aquidneck now. Just like you did with the roof work that you did several years ago and the mechanical work that you did, the replacement of the boilers, that's allowing you to use and occupy the facilities now. You would have been out of those buildings years ago if you hadn't
Mhm.
spent that money.
To add to that complication, part of that deliberation is when you're programming a new school, you're comparing it always to what RIDE says should be the size and facilities, and that results in square footage, allowable square footage that will be reimbursable, 100% reimbursable. But it may be that through the program and you decide you want additional space in different places or facilities, and then you have to decide
What's the priority?
Mhm. I just think it's important to make sure that if this does go before the town council, that 20 million is commented on,
Mhm.
because I
I've
really,
been transparent about it every
I
time
know
I've
you
had a
have,
chance.
but I think it's important to make that comment at some point, to be able to reiterate, whoever threw that number out, we have to be very careful with not locking that in stone. It may not be realistic as the time goes by, when construction costs and materials are escalating. So I just want to comment on that, when, make sure, if you would please include that.
Absolutely.
and
The other thing I
reinforce it.
neglected to mention here is that, we're focused on the space planning exercise with these colored plans, but furniture goes a long way in terms of reinventing these spaces as well. And I don't know if you picked up on it, but all of this furniture in the after is all new. And you can see what a difference it makes with making those spaces, vibrant, and, you really want to be in them. They're flexible, but you really want to be in them as a kid or as a teacher. Who would want to be in a room like that? They were using that up until 3 years ago.
I've got a question. What are the conditions of the furnaces in the high school? You're gonna build a furnace and you need two of them.
The boiler plant at the high school we're still looking into, but the idea is to basically scrap it all and deal with it on a wing by wing basis as you go through the building, because it's failed. Putting new boilers in that building and putting new pipe in an age where we're trying to minimize our carbon footprint and go all electric in particular. The state has a bill right now that's actually gonna, I think, be decided on before the end of this legislative session, that may require all new buildings in Rhode Island schools to be electrified, fully electrified.
The trend, sure.
So that's something to consider as you put more investment into these things, and, maybe not so much at the high school in the way that we could at the new middle high, but looking to incorporate PV in the mix. That's stuff we're gonna be back to you with on both of these fronts at some point.
When it happens is one question, but I think that the commitment to this direction would be with the understanding that all of the infrastructure was new and modern, and you make this building as energy efficient as absolutely possible as part of that, which goes to the wall work and so forth.
You're not gonna be able to do that with electric. I don't care what the state says. We can't even we will not in 20 years have enough electric coming in. We can't even put pipes across the line. New York is a source of natural gas, but they don't allow any pipelines. And look at the problem New Hampshire had this year because they couldn't put pipelines across Massachusetts. I hear you.
But the
and
idea
I
is to get rid
understand-
of your liability. That's,
What?
it's to get rid of the liability. That
And I'll
heating
tell you,
system is-
electric heat does not produce the warmth that you get from oil heat. Not your problem.
It will be a completely different kind of electric system.
It's not old fashioned resistance electric heat. They're electric heat pumps, which deliver heat in a very similar fashion that a gas system would, in fact. And they're highly efficient from an energy consumption standpoint.
Except for when they start up. They use up a lot of electricity. My knowledge is 10, 15 years old and furnaces like the ones that we put over on Forest Avenue, the two new ones over there, were $700,000 each. And that was 10 years ago, 5 years ago.
The earliest time we'll have this discussion is in having this very discussion about the new middle
Middle
school,
high.
high school. And that will be presented, options will be presented and considered, and you'll hear very specific information about the choices at hand.
Yeah, and you may have electric panels, even though I'm not thrilled with putting them on the roofs. The best system I've seen was up at Bristol Community College, where they put all their solar panels over the parking lot.
Yep. Yeah.
And now the technology, I can't even keep up with it. Technology is solar panels now with one big converter for all of them. They put the converters are on individual. So if you lose one, you don't lose them all. I kind,
It's like the Christmas lights.
So we wanted you to see this plan. It was presented to the building committee. And the building committee, I believe at the next meeting is going to make a recommendation to the school committee, probably with this plan, I'm thinking. But we wanted to fill you in. I know, one or two of you at least were at the building committees. So, again, it's important for you to see this, the reason why we're going forward.
And the more input and comments we get, the better.
So with the bond, middle high has to happen, obviously. The 4-5, something has to happen. And this building, something has to happen.
Correct.
So if everything is used up on the middle high, and we still have to do something with the 4-5 and the admin.
That's why we're
like-
trying to build the menu, Tammy.
yeah,
So
so that you can add.
like,
it
here's the
on.
minimum you need to do to
Right.
get in.
Or is there a,
Here is a lot of things that should be done
Yep.
if the funds allow.
is within the middle high, possibility of admin space? Like should there not be enough funds or?
We're having difficulty right now. And again, this is all part of the planning process, but we're having difficulty nailing down the maximum allowable square footage for that new building. How much is the state gonna allow? And district admin is, let's just say it's gray,
Mhm.
right? It's possible, but it will make the cost of the new building go up
Right, it's a
as a
trade-off.
result of it.
Right,
So
just curious if you, yeah.
even if it's, just the square footage, if we're adding 8,000 square feet to that building, you're gonna be adding a significant amount of money. And
Would be
then
a
we
state
kind of
levy.
felt like it was inappropriate to put it on that site just because of the amount of everything else going on there.
No, it seems ideal, I think with your layout, absolutely.
Well,
I
and
was
I
just
think the
curious.
beauty of this is that, as Ed was saying, depending on what funds are available,
Mhm.
you can do a lot of work, but not so much work, and still get in there. And there's enough space left that's unoccupied to be able to do the eventual final
Mhm.
work at the same time without being too disruptive.
We also have summers available, not only during this bond phase, this construction phase, but every summer thereafter to try and get work done, sort of pecking away at it. And every budget cycle is another opportunity to get some more money.
And students aren't displaced.
No, that was
Yeah,
Ride's
yes,
biggest
plan.
objection with the high school reuse, because there was nowhere to put the kids. And what you would have spent on portable trailers or renting someplace else and incurring more busing costs was astronomical. Which is why they said, go back to the drawing board, which the town did. But
No, this is great. Thank you.
I even, just the whole pre-K, K1, like way back envisioning, like I love that concept.
remember we talked
did.
about that with what's the right grade
And I just
configuration?
love that concept too, because then you have those specialists that are, who are dealing with those kids, they're like in that location. They're not jumping from the 2 elementary schools, like you have that early childhood right there and those early childhood folks, and maybe there's movement to the
And the scale is better in that
3 and all
building.
that, but I like the concentrations.
Well, early childhood facility like that would be
Awesome.
an ideal scenario because you really are working with the development. It's all aged, it's
Yeah.
developmentally appropriate practices going on in the same building. And when you
Exactly.
get into the 2, 3, 4, 5,
The early intervention.
you're dealing with,
everything,
right,
it's
early
just-
intervention, and then you're transitioning from early intervention into regular special education. There's a lot of pros to
Mhm.
an early childhood facility. So,
I think that's
I
great.
think that by utilizing Forest Avenue, which we have put a lot of money into with the furnaces and the, we do know that we could use that for a long period of time. So that building is in good shape for now. So I think the most important thing is looking at this reuse of the high school to get 4, 5 and admin in there, I think would be an ideal scenario.
And the 4-5 was moved because of the other structures at the top left there.
We wanted to take more advantage of
Yeah.
that, right? And then here, because they're the only ones in the building, to try and take advantage of the science labs that are there now.
Mhm.
You know, this science lab could be repurposed as a project lab. Literally, all we have to do is shut the gas off.
And I like how you had the two courtyards for the two groups.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
This also lets you, you know, do as much as you can in that first phase, but
Mhm.
still finish the other half as the next step before they move in, right?
And think about this building of the gym. You know, we put money into our gyms and I think that it is a good sized gym. It still could be the use for the community gym. So we would have two full-size gyms.
That gym is just for informational purposes. That existing gym is almost 1,000 square feet larger than what you would allow in a new building.
Wow. It is a great gym.
Mm-hmm.
When I was in when I was at Middletown High School, we had 1,200, we had 500, 200 to 250 students per grade when I graduated from Middletown High School. So we had a lot of kids. My class had 235, something like that back in the day. And
40 kids in a classroom.
yeah, well, we had, you know, our classes were packed and it was what it was. But I'm just saying that, you know, that high school did hold all of us. It was jam packed. It was very crowded and we all survived. But I think that by reusing this building, what I was going to say is though the gym held all of us when we had assemblies, so we could all be in there. So, well, thank you very much.
Great job.
Thank you.
This is very exciting. All right, anybody else have any questions or comments? All right, next, moving on to action items. Let me just get on action items, sorry. All right, next, can I have a motion on homeschooling?
I make a motion the school committee approve the homeschooling 22-23-34 and 22-23-35 and 22-23-36.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Can I get a motion of the Director of Student Services job description, second reading?
Make a motion the school committee approve the director of student services, second reading.
Second.
Any discussion?
I'd just like to let you know that we will be interviewing next week for this position and hopefully have someone aboard.
How many applicants
Um,
do you have?
we're interviewing 4 people that met the criteria.
Great. All right, thank you.
Do we vote on that?
No, we didn't. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Greg, though. All right, can I have a motion on policy number 7020, hazing, first reading?
I make a motion the school committee approve hazing policy, first reading.
Second.
Any discussion?
Yes, on the hazing prevention, we talked about bullying.
Wait a minute. Which policy are you on? The hazing policy first reading or the prevention?
I think it will, it will,
Out
Okay,
of order.
okay, we're talking about the prevention one right now?
Not yet, no.
Okay, the
The first one is hazing, just hazing at the top of it. 7020 is the policy number. Just don't want to discuss it on the wrong agenda item. You look at the top right-hand side, Greg, see the number at the top?
oh, okay. That was fine.
That one's okay?
Yep.
Okay. I just don't want to talk about the
Yep.
wrong one, that's all. Okay, any further, any discussion on that? All in favor? Aye. Now I need a motion on policy number 7020A, hazing prevention and intervention protocol, first reading.
Make a motion the school committee approve hazing prevention and intervention protocol, first reading.
Second.
Any discussion?
Yes,
Go ahead.
I have a couple of things. One, we talked about bullying throughout this protocol. There's no definition for bullying, and I think we need to add the definition for bullying in this protocol. And then on page fifth page, on the top page, it starts with unless there are important mitigating circumstances.
Mhm.
The fourth paragraph.
page
Just-
what?
Page
It's not
5.
numbered, but I think it's page 5.
Well, it's numbered on the computer.
Okay.
Okay.
where violations of criminal law may have occurred, the principal shall report the matter to the law enforcement. I think you should strike just matter to law enforcement. And the other suggestion I'd make is that the paragraph above that, it says 10 school days within receipt of a complaint. The investigation should be completed. I think it should be seven days, I think, rather than 10 school days. That way, if it's over a weekend, that's almost 2 weeks before a family would have any response. If it was 7 days, it would be under 2 weeks.
Difficulty with that, though, is if they're doing an investigation could take longer than 7 days when you're getting police and lawyers and people like that involved. So I don't know if
10 is pretty standard,
if 10, yeah,
but I'll check on it. It's worth checking.
sure.
Mr. Hewitt and I talked about this policy and I agree with the
Shall-
bullying definition.
Included.
For sure.
Mhm.
Included maximum of 10 days.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So it does say a maximum of 10 days.
Shall be concluded within a maximum of 10
Right.
school days from such.
We always could issue an interim decision too.
I mean, if I was a parent and that was going on, and I had to wait 10 days for any reason,
Mm.
I would not be happy with that.
Mhm.
So I think we need to force the issue as much as possible to get it done.
And then I had something, I did send it to Kiki, that under the section 10 consequences and follow-up. And then it goes into psychological support.
Wait a minute, Wendy, what page are you on, please?
I don't know. I'm.
Oh, you're at the last page. You're almost at the last
Almost
page.
the last, so it's 1, 2, 3 back. It's
So-
under that.
Numeral 10.
The X, yeah, 10. Consequences, and follow-up actions. It goes discipline, then we have students with special needs, then you have psychological support. It's just a grammatical thing. Psychological support will not mandatory mediation, will not mandate. Is that what they're trying to say there?
It does say
Will
mandate
not
on mine.
require mandatory mediation. So I'm trying to just make it
Make the grammar. Okay.
grammar.
It
correct.
does,
Check that.
I think I corrected
it is
it.
corrected on this one.
Okay.
on the
'cause it's
computer.
Yeah, this
Okay,
one.
it-
Okay.
it does
yeah,
say-
that's
not
what-
mandate
Okay, yeah, I
mediation,
went ahead
not
and sent
mandate.
it to her because it was like, okay.
Yep.
So what we did is we did send this policy to the policy subcommittee, which is Greg, who are Greg and Wendy to look at. Again, this is a pretty much of a template policy
Mhm.
as a result of things happening in other parts of the state.
Yeah.
And the attorney, all of his districts, he recommended this policy. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'm delighted Greg brought this up. I could probably live with a minimum of 10 days for recording.
No, maximum
Maximum of 10.
of 10 days.
Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Maximum of
So we'll
of
make
10
those.
days before some initial reaction is.
We'll make those corrections for the second reading. Thank you for your input, though.
Okay, so for the first reading, are we good? And then the second reading will?
Yep.
Okay. So we've had a motion and a second and a discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And I have a motion regarding reopening early retirement.
I make a motion that the school committee reopen early retirement for certified staff until June 30th, 2023.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Can I have a motion on the table saw surplus?
Make a motion, school committee approve a table saw used by Middletown High School workshop be delegated to surplus.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Can I get a motion to table the next item of fiscal year 22-23 budget adjustments?
Make a motion that the school committee table the FY 22-23 budget adjustments.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Can I have a motion on resignations?
Make a motion, the school committee approve the following resignations. Them.
Yes, you do.
Kira Abzil for our teacher assistant GLA effective April 7, 2023. Kathleen Brennan, special education teacher assistant, Aquidneck, effective last day of 2022-23 school year. Jeffrey Heath, PhD, Principal, Middletown High School, effective June 30th, 2023.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. We move on to the superintendent reports.
Okay, personnel reports, effective November 4th, 2022. Rochelle Wagner, Student Council Co-Advisor, Megan Sparadio, Student Council Co-Advisor. Effective March 13th, 2023, Daniel Elshant, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade girls softball coach at Gaudet. Hire effective March 30th, 2023, Neil Heron, boys varsity lacrosse at Middletown High School. Evan Kabadi, assistant boys varsity lacrosse coach, Middletown High School. Maria Coleman, head coach, boys and girls outdoor track, Middletown High School. And Michael Goodrow, assistant coach, boys and girls outdoor track, Middletown High School. Hire effective April 11th, 2023, Dylan Nicholas, Beyond the Bell credit recovery teacher, Middletown High School April boot camp. Hire effective April 17th, 2023, Claudia Cabero, 4-hour teacher assistant, Gaudet Learning Academy, and Kelly Butella, long-term substitute teacher, grade 8 math at Gaudet Middle School. And then you had those resignations.
Okay. Next is an update on curriculum.
Curriculum, in your status report, our assistant superintendent gave a comprehensive update on curriculum. One thing I'd like to recognize is our growth. The district accountability results came out. And when you looked at all the districts, our district report card talked about the growth that we made for all of our students. We got the highest growth possible. So we showed strong performance in growth for ELA and math. We talk about proficiency being a destination, whereas growth being a journey. And we are pleased that we are on a good journey with growth for our students. And when you read the press release that went out about our scores and where we are, we're making progress. We really are, and we're pleased with that. Any questions about that?
Where did the press release go? You know where you
It,
shared it?
it's on our website. It's on the town website. And I believe I sent it to all today.
Mhm.
Also, under the assistant superintendent's report, our professional development, we have secured 7 teachers who have been applied and have been accepted to a program at Roger Williams University to learn more about educating our English language learners. And that's really a plus. Our math curriculum, our group is still working on math curriculum. We will probably have a recommendation to you in June for a K-12 math curriculum. I think that's it for curriculum. In terms of finance, I'd like to, the financials that you have received both for February and March show that we are in good at this point. In February, we had expended remaining in our budget is 3.8. And then in March, it actually went up a little bit because we received additional revenue from impact aid. So these are the things that we monitor carefully. I do want to thank the town, Mark Tangway, and the support that the town has given us. Being a gatekeeper, it has really helped us work. We are working with a very limited staff in our business office, and that staff is working extremely hard, but it's challenging, certainly challenging.
So I wanted to ask you, about the consolidation of the business office with the town. Tammy and myself and you and the town administrator, and Paul and Tom from the town council had met a while back, and I just wanted to touch base and see where we're at.
So we had one subsequent meeting and we talked about the needs of both sides, what really would need for an effective consolidated department. We haven't had any follow-up, but we need to continue to do that because we're operating on very few people in our business office. One will be going out shortly for a length of time. And as I said, it continues to be challenged. So I will talk to our town administrator to get that conversation going again. I know the town just hired a deputy finance director, and he started this Monday, I believe. So, but I'll have a report for you next time we meet or even before that.
Okay, thank you.
I have a little bit of question. Do you have any more word from Sean on any more help on the state on the bond rather than the guaranteed 52?
No, I know there's legislation in, it looks positive. He reported at the building committee that he hopes that is going to go through because it would help many more communities too. So I think that's going to be positive.
So it's in front of the legislature.
Yeah, well, I'm hoping for 65.
60, I think.
What?
I think they're looking at 60.
Okay,
Well,
next is facilities.
Facilities, I'm doing all these reports. So facilities, again, in your status report, the Middletown Fire Department has agreed to purchase 8 new AEDs for us, for the district. There was training going on. I want to thank the boosters for having that training. But we will get the new units. It is going to take a while to get them in, but thanks to the Middletown Fire Department for doing that, and we will get trained on that. Again, the walkie-talkies that I talked about through a grant. Technology update. We are working with our registration has opened for new students and kindergarten students. Our coordinator of student information and educational services has oversees the registration team, and that's going very smoothly. There's good communication between the registration team and the building principals to know how many students are being enrolled. In addition, over the April break, our network administrator and our district technician walked through the buildings, and we have a new district inventory system. And during the month of April, our IT department has helped with our tech coaches, and also they've been instrumental in supporting all the state testing that we're doing this month, and PSATs and SATs. So it's a great team. That does conclude my reports. Well, no, I do want to share with you the special ed report. Again, this is a work in progress, but Mr. Hewitt had asked, what are the FTEs? So I want to walk you through this. If you look on the left-hand side, under the regional program for FTEs for FY23, the shared, if you go down, there were 32.9 shared positions or activities purchase service. And we paid 52% of that. Moving down to that second level, you see special ed local, special ed region, special ed TAs region. Even though it says region and regional, Middletown paid full for this staff because they fully taught in our schools. So the full total FTE was 92.0 FTEs. All of that added to salaries and benefits to $6,069,000 635. We included ODP here, which is out of district placements, and that's 3,209,000. There are 4 positions that we pay in grants. These are not grants that sunset. We're not falling into that trap. These are grants that are given to us yearly. And we do pay for 4 positions there. So our total from the general fund for this year for special ed costs is $8,814,042.90. Now slide over to what it's going to look like next year. Instead of the 32.9 positions, we will be paying 100% of 15.5 positions. And I approximated those dollars there, which brings us to $2,176,000. All of the teachers and teacher assistants will now be local. We had to add 4 new classes and 8 new teacher assistants. And for like the administrator, the census clerk that we were paying 52%, we needed to add that other 48%. So that totals, well, let me do the FTEs. That's a total of 86.6, but the number you see is higher. And you say, why is that? It's because we had to pay the other 48%. We added 4 teachers and 8 teacher assistants. Move down, it's projected the out of district placement is 3 million, the same as last year. And we are still going to fund those 4 positions in that grant. What's not included, and we have to include here, is our transportation costs. We do have a bus that goes to Tiverton, and we're going to see if there are any other out of district placements that we were paying. But that gives you a breakdown of FTEs and the costs. So we are paying more. In the budget presentations, we said about $1 million more. It actually, with this data that we have, it shows that we're paying 741 more, but busing is not included. So it's close to that $1 million more. You know, Greg,
Question I have, so I understand all this, but the number of students that were in the region that we were paying half for versus the number of students that we're paying for under
our special ed population is the same, would be approximately the same.
exactly the same.
Yeah, we
Okay.
weren't, you know, we were paying for the services on that left-hand side.
I still don't understand why, if the number of students is the same, why is there 4 additional classes?
Because when you bring the, if you don't mind me jumping in on that, if we put 4 students in one Tiverton classroom and 4 students in another classroom, but they're different ages and things like that. So then you're having to bring all of them back, and we're putting them in our district now and in our buildings. You also the capacity. I mean, we have high numbers of special education students in our district. So if you're bringing back, you can't put a 6th grader with a 1st grader. So what's happening is we have to open new classrooms to meet the needs of those age groups. And correct me if I'm wrong. There's one at Gaudet that I know has to go back in, 2 at Aquidneck and
2 at Aquidneck and 1 at Forest.
and 1 at
Because
Gaudet. So
those
it's different age groups.
3 of those were housed in Tiverton.
Right.
Our students went to Tiverton for those services.
Okay.
So now our students have to come back. We didn't have classrooms because we had the classrooms in Tiverton. That's why we have to add those classrooms.
So it's the age, that's the, you know, when you only have a handful of one age and a handful of the other, that's why the benefit of being able to share a teacher. Whereas now you can't.
So what I would suggest is this document along with that statement showing that and making sure that the town council understands. this,
Sure.
Mhm.
Because they are gonna absolutely question that.
And transportation isn't even in here yet.
Yeah.
So there could be, I mean, we're still gonna have a cost of transportation because you're still gonna need the small buses and you're still gonna have out of district placement, which is not calculated this year on this sheet right here, never mind for next year. So we're still gonna have those out of placement students, out of district placements. I'm sorry, I didn't say that correctly.
But we're also not transporting the kids to Tiverton anymore.
Correct. So there could be a
is-
savings there, but so
Probably gonna be a wash.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
It's not gonna be a huge savings because you're still gonna have to transport them to the different schools, just not as far. So the gas cost is gonna go down, travel time's gonna go down.
so it's just a narrative. Why I talk the narrative, I could put a narrative in writing.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that might be helpful.
Yeah. So that's good.
I just
Thank
think
you
that
for the input.
clarity and.
Yeah.
They need that.
To know, because they're gonna have that same question.
Mhm.
Aren't we saving money?
Well, we never said we were gonna save money. Other districts had said they were gonna save money. We never felt that way because we had 52% of the price tag already. So we knew we were gonna be on the higher end. So, I mean, well, thank you. This is
No, I mean,
really
it was
broken
a
down
good-
nicely.
a really good exercise for us
Yep.
to do that. And, you know, it's not, I want to put in those other numbers when you say administrator. We want to put that in, but again, we're kind of short in our business office, so we put this together.
Thank you for doing that.
Yep.
That's really clear.
Yep.
Okay. Can I get a motion on the school committee report, the superintendent reports?
Make a motion, the school committee receive the superintendent's report.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any reports of officers and committees? We've already discussed the building committee and I wasn't there last week, but Tammy, were you there? Do you have anything to add or?
They're doing a great job. And I think that plan is, very feasible. And it's the way on numbers.
Excellent. Okay.
And then yesterday, Dawn, who has been doing our minutes and doing all of the stuff with the website and storing everything, he and I met with Dr. Heath because the kids got a handful of capstone kids who are putting together the website. So we sat down with him in his office, went over the website a bit. We told him a bunch of different things. I think he's going to present next Wednesday with a couple of little formats, and then we can like tweak a whole bunch of different things. So it's helpful.
Excellent. Okay.
I do have one question. The resignation from Vincent Leachmanic.
Yes.
He put down at the last council meeting, the contract was for $14 million for the architectures. I myself thought it was 4 million.
No. 14 million. That number's correct.
So 14 million is correct.
From start to finish for the completion of the entire project. That's correct. It's a percentage of the total dollar amount of the cost.
But I'm
But-
glad you said that.
But
because-
what they've done to this point is up, I apologize, I don't recall the date of what the town council, and then they would be paid. I want to say, I think it was like 2 point some million up until that date. Oh,
Million by the end. And if they go the all way until 2.5 million, if the bond around that, I think that's what.
okay, that's right. I knew it was 2 point some million at some point. Okay, so 1 million by June and 2 point something million by when the bond is
But
hopefully passed.
the town school committee have the opportunity to cancel it out if the bond is passed.
Correct. Without a,
If they decide that it's not gonna be financially, possible.
feasible, right. So that was in the contract,
Okay, what I didn't understand, that's from start to finish.
correct, over the course of the next
Okay, yeah,
next
well,
year.
didn't make, I had heard 4 million.
It's
but
a minimum obligation of 2 point something million. That's the
Right,
minimum.
there you
obligation.
go.
Bond.
No, plus another.
Peter's saying.
million.
No, it, by next fall, if we go there.
Yep.
It could be around 2.5 million.
Okay,
But if they decide to cancel the contract with a 30-day notice, they're looking and then coming back with whatever the funding would be from RIDE. If it's not good or feasible, it would be about things.
okay.
Is this for Colliers?
This is for
Yeah.
Architects.
the
Yeah,
architect.
yeah, okay, yep.
Okay. Anybody have anything else? Okay, need a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn from the school committee meeting at 6:15.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Have a good night. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.